See, they say he's gained mad weight and he blames it on his kid's birthday cake.
Who?
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
No, I didn't.
And his dolphin shit.
Oh my God!
Get ready, guys.
All right.
Shit, I thought we were doing like the news intro already, just talking that fun.
The red light goes on. How we doing, guys? Welcome to another edition of Analytically Correct. We're here at Public House on University, connected with Shamrock Liquors. Both great places. Check them out, patronize them. This is not Bredigans. This is JJ, one of my good friends for a long time.
Y'all know me.
Brett is out this week due to time constraints in his schedule and the upcoming Magic game. He had some kind of crazy plans going on for it. So if you tuned in for him, don't tune out just yet. I still need somebody on the comments to tell me how much of an idiot I am for comparing Dwayne Wade to Kobe Bryant.
Don't worry, I'll help with that. I got your back, Brett.
I have no doubt that that'll happen. We're going to start this week, and my name's Marty, obviously, if you guys didn't already know.
I'm JJ.
We're going to start off with the big thing of the week was Tiger Woods winning at Augusta. His 15th major. He won the Masters this week. If you bet on him, like the guy in Vegas who bet $85,000 to win $1.2 million.
1.2,
yeah. 1.2.
Yeah.
I think you can even go back if you really have.
Wasn't it 2.1?
I think it was like 1.19. If you really have nothing to do, you can go back to last week's podcast and see that I said when we were talking about betting on the Masters, I didn't think Tiger is really worth it to bet on him. Because his odds are never really true odds, because it's like the Yankees or the Red Sox. Like the odds are always pulled down by everybody wanting. It's such a public thing to bet on.
Absolutely.
But it turns out if the person that you're betting on wins, it doesn't really matter what the odds are. It's the right bet.
You bet it, and it hits.
I took Justin Thomas. He obviously didn't win, so I guess the odds don't really matter there. Don't listen to anything I say when it comes to betting.
No, I really thought Brooks Koepka was going to hit it.
He was doing really well there, and then as soon as I saw Koepka like going up the leaderboard, I was like, oh man, like all of last year he was doing so well. Like how did I not even think about him when I was putting in any bets that I was doing? I didn't even think about him because I like to go for like that in between, like not the favorite. Like Rory was 6-1. That's just crazy.
Was he really?
Rory was 6-1. That to me is crazy.
Yeah, he's been on a downward spiral.
I have the comments pulled up here. I'm in the big boy chair this week where Brett usually sits.
I'm in the little guy chair.
I think I'm doing it right. Yeah, this is the Marty chair, so he's definitely gonna say something stupid.
Oh, it'll happen.
He's gonna be the clip of the week.
Once I get another shot.
So feel free to comment in. We're gonna start off talking about Tiger. We're gonna get some NBA playoffs in, especially with this guy being such a big Magic fan. I'm a Pistons fan. If we don't talk about any of that series at all, I'll be fine with that. So yeah, I got the stretch my I got the comments working right and everything, right? You can see that. Yeah, cool. So feel free to comment in if you want to talk about anything other than NBA playoffs. We'll get some NHL in there a little bit later. The Russell Wilson contract.
Lightning, what the hell is wrong with them?
The Lightning, who I think Brett in one of the podcasts said it's like a guarantee, like it's not even gonna be close. They're gonna run away with the playoffs, but I mean that's just hockey.
Yeah,
but
it's one of the best playoffs ever.
To start with Tiger Woods, I think it was just overall like a really good weekend. There's a saying in like sports media or sports radio or sports TV. It's like, oh, Tiger Woods transcends golf. Like he brings in even just like the casual fans, and for them that's good. I don't really care. I'm gonna watch it either way. You're gonna watch it either way.
Yep.
But I mean, if more people are interested, that's cool. The whole scene at the end with him and his kids. I don't know. Did you watch like the final hole?
Same hug he gave his dad the first time he won the
Yeah,
Masters.
the whole thing that came full circle. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And his mom and everything.
I'm a huge Tiger fan.
Yeah. And then like even when it's gonna be like an iconic like either a magazine cover or just a picture when he like throws his hands up like this.
It's definitely gonna be on ESPN the magazine.
Yeah, and just like the joy that he had after that and the fans chanting. It's like those are golf fans chanting like that. This sounded like it was like a college football game or something like that. And
the
for
golf course going louder than the stadium.
Exactly. Yeah. And what else can you say about it? I guess the main conversation now is can he catch Jack Nicklaus? I don't know if he can or he can't. Nobody really knows. It's pretty much a guess. It would be awesome if he did. That being said, he's 43. But obviously, if he won it at this age, and one of the points being made, he didn't beat like a bunch of random guys. Like 8 out of the top 15 were, or 8 out of the top 10 were top 15 in the world.
The last year and a half, Molinari's been one of the best golfers in the fucking world.
Yeah.
He's been on fire.
I was listening.
Won Bay Hill. What else? Did he win TPC?
Yeah.
He's been hot.
One of the guys, the Lebitard show that I listened to, Stugatz said that even the Molinari family was rooting for Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
He said even they were cheering when he hit it into the water. I think it was on like 16. I was like, I guess.
What was it? Molinari and Tony Finau hit it in the water. Tiger just took it right on the green.
It's you golf just like me, and
crabby.
Right. I meant that we both golf, but I love watching golf, but at the same time I hate watching it because it makes, like, I admire the shots they hit. Like, their worst shot is like the best shot I've ever hit in my life.
Yeah.
And it's just like, at the same time, it's so fun to watch. Like, I guess if you don't golf, it's kind of boring to watch. Like when I was a kid, I'd see my grandpa watching all, like, well, this is boring, right? But until you actually golf and you can respect like what these guys are doing at such a like consistent level, like you never see these guys top the ball or anything like that.
It don't plunk.
Yeah, it would be like if Tiger Woods was blackout drunk and you were playing completely sober, like what kind of a handicap would you still have to have?
Like 200? He's still destroyed.
Like he's got to play like Augusta or that crappy course they played overseas last year, and you can play Wedgefield.
Yeah,
exactly. Or not Wedgefield, Winter Park Pines, where it's like a par 66.
Sure, Wedgefield might be even crappier. But yeah, it's a longer course. But yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, famous words of Forrest Gump. That's all I got to say about that. I mean, it was a great weekend. My guy didn't win. I bet on Justin Thomas, like I said. But after he was out of it, I was rooting for Tiger. Who could not be rooting for Tiger?
You know, I even got my kids chanting, Tiger, Tiger, go, Tiger, Tiger Woods, y'all. And it's great to have my two kids sitting there watching that with me. And at least they get to see Tiger a little bit before they get too old.
Yeah.
And did you know Tiger is only one of two golfers to win the Masters in 3 different decades?
Yeah. It was like 11 years since the last time he won it too, or 11 or 13. That was like the longest stretch.
I think it might be 12. Yeah, he won in 90s, he won it in 2000s, and then this year.
Yeah, I didn't tag anybody.
And then Jack Nicklaus won it in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
So moving on from that, I think the NBA playoffs is probably the second biggest thing going on right now. Over the weekend, there were upsets, there were blowouts. This is my favorite time of year because you go right, and as far as basketball goes, you go right from the NCAA tournament to now the NBA playoffs. And then by the time the NBA playoffs, you're just like basketballed out. I'm like, I'm good now. Just to go series by series, Bucks, Pistons, we don't need to talk about that.
Why, you sure?
Yeah, Giannis is, I said it earlier, we're not going to win a single game.
Well, we were talking about the Pistons, and I heard you last week or 2 weeks ago saying that I've never won the bet, and I finally won it this year. I finally won. 6 years it took me to win.
It took an extraordinary set of circumstances and a collapse by the Pistons at the end to somehow lose. We were so... yeah, congratulations.
Steve Clifford, y'all. Steve Clifford, that's the man.
You know, who was the coach you took me to that? JJ took me to a Mike and Mike live Skype event a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And we each got to ask a question on Skype from Mike and Mike. And what was the question at the time you asked? Scott Skiles was the coach. And you're like...
I said, why do you think people don't want to come here and play with it? Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was, do you think Scott Skiles is going to finally get over this hump? And the skinny Mike was like, no, because nobody wants to come play here. And we don't know why. No state taxes.
I think
beautiful.
I think the question was, now that we have Scott Skiles, like, can we be stopped or something like that?
Probably. I might have had a couple before we got there. But, I'm excited that Magic are back in the playoffs. It's been a long time since I've watched the Magic and Braves play at the same time.
So that's all about the Pistons series. We suck. We got through the bet and everything.
He congratulated me. We can get on.
We'll go to Toronto, Orlando. That one, it's hard to sweep a team, but to win a game on usually like if it's a 2 seed or if it's like a 7 or an 8 seed, that the lower seed will win maybe one of their home games.
Yeah,
and it's like a gentleman's sweep. But the Magic win the first game in Toronto. So what do you think about their chances tonight, and as far as the whole series? Like, not just being a fan of the team, but if you have like any, do you think you actually...
honestly, I think if Vooch and Terrence Ross step up.
He used to be a Raptor too, Terrence Ross, right?
He damn sure did. So I think he's got a little edge. Definitely playing in Toronto. But I think if those two step up, we have a great chance. Tonight, I think we're going to lose from Kawhi Leonard on a buzzer beater. I don't think there's going to be any games that we get blown out. But since January 31st, we've been the best defensive team in the league. And we're tall, we're long, and we're fast.
Yeah,
and we're young.
That's always been the thing with the Magic. It's like every year when they draft, it's like, what are they doing? Because all they're doing is drafting like long, athletic guys who can't shoot. And I mean, it seems like it's working out now. I haven't watched the Magic a ton this year. I know Fournier was like their main shooter, right?
Yeah, he was, and he's fell off this year.
Yeah.
And Vooch has finally became an all-star. Of course, his contract year. So
that's what happens. That tends to happen, yeah. But I mean, they're probably going to pay him. Who else are they paying?
We have to.
It's just him and Gordon, pretty much.
We got him. No, we paid Fournier a buttload of money because he happened to fall in between that 1 year that just dumb bench players are getting paid. And we paid him.
We were talking about it earlier before the podcast started. As a realistic fan, you know, it's kind of like that zigzag theory. Like the Magic win the first game, and now it's almost like you expect Toronto to win this game.
I do.
If they lose this game, they'd be in like big trouble coming back because then all the Magic have to do is win 2 out of the next 3.
So our game starts at 8. If Magic win tonight, you might want to come hang around me tonight.
No, or not.
It's gonna go crazy. Baby, if you're watching, sorry, I'm gonna be home late.
And then when he does get home, he's gonna wake you up, and you don't want that.
Oh no, I know better than that. If you're married, you know better.
Put the kids to bed, as they say.
They go bed at 8. I'm good.
Do you give the Magic a realistic chance? I mean, you have to, right?
Honestly, I do.
After they win the first game. And then after watching, we'll get to the. I kind of want to go in order of the series.
We got John Isaac on TV right now.
Yeah, but after watching the Warriors, who everyone thinks is like this invincible team, and why wouldn't you think that up until this point? But to see them last night, we can actually just go. We can go straight to that series. Actually, you don't have to go in order. We all 3 of us stopped watching the game. Luckily, I had it on the GameCast, and I just kept checking back in every once in a while. And I checked back in after like a 20-minute time period. I'm like, they're down 5 points. I got to look at this right now. But then it's still like, as the game goes on, and Lou Williams is hitting these crazy fadeaway shots that it looks like he's trying to.
He's so good.
It looks like he's trying to make it difficult on himself on purpose. Like the only reason that I can see that he's not starting is just because he loves to win the 6th Man of the Year award.
But see, that's what I wanted to ask you, and I was thinking about this on the way. Do you think you could be the 6th man when you play more minutes than the starter? I looked it up. He plays 26 minutes a game.
Technically, it's
48
like
minutes.
Technically, it's like the best bench player. I think is what the. If you have a problem like what the award is, but as the award currently is, that he fits what that is.
He don't start. I mean, I agree, but when it comes to that, like you play 26 minutes a game, the starter don't. He can't because there's not that many minutes.
Yeah,
it's just,
I mean, starters.
It's one of them crazy rules.
Yeah, it's the same thing with. We get into awards. It's the same thing as Coach of the Year. It's like. What coach did, what team performed better than we thought they were going to perform, and we can't explain it other than saying it was the coach's well done.
Right.
All the awards are kind of like that, like Rookie of the Year.
Or like baseball, you're still a rookie if you only played so many games.
Yeah, the whole thing. Who was fighting about it last year was Donovan Mitchell and like Ben Simmons, right?
Yes.
Because it was like Ben Simmons wasn't
didn't play,
and it's like at the end of the. All these awards that people like pretend to care about just to fill up time, which I mean, what are we doing right now? We're literally talking about awards and filling time. But to point fingers at everyone else, it's like nobody, like the Antonio Brown thing. Now we're going like kind of all over, but the Antonio Brown thing was, he didn't win the Steelers team MVP. It's like, did anyone even know that existed until he mentioned it? It's like nobody cares about that except for you, and nobody knew it. We know you're the best player on the Steelers. Do you need to like have everyone in the media praise you? Like, it's just.
You think he was better than Bell?
Yeah. Well.
When Bell played.
I thought you were talking about last year.
I was playing last year.
Not
last year. Oh yeah, last year he was by far the best.
I mean, if you just even look at like the value of contracts in the NFL, you have to give receiver almost a higher value, even though running back and receiver are definitely overvalued in most fans' eyes, I think. Because if you look at the teams that are winning the Super Bowls, Todd Gurley was definitely better than the running backs that the Patriots had, and the Patriots never have like that great wide receiver. The one year they had Randy Moss, they didn't even win.
Yeah. Still a lot of records, but they definitely didn't win.
So yeah, that's what we do on this podcast. We start with Orlando Magic, and then somehow we end up talking about Antonio Brown and Randy Moss on the Patriots.
So, welcome to the guest co-host.
Yeah. Overall on that Clippers series, do you give the Clippers any kind of chance? I
don't. But so right when the markets went down, I was listening to it on the radio on the way home, and I was like, you know what? This is going to be the best thing for them. They don't need him.
It's back
and they were up.
Back to how they were
exactly.
Without the chemistry and all that.
And when I got home, I looked at the score. I was like, see, I knew I was right.
Well, yeah, and
then I wake up and this happened.
He went down in the first 4 minutes, and then they were still up 31. So you can't blame it on losing him. The whole thing is you have to give the Clippers a ton of credit because, like, how the hell are you down to that? Like, the Warriors do that to other people. People don't do that to the Warriors.
Yeah.
The Warriors were famous I think it was 15-16 or 16-17 when they would come, like, no lead was safe. They would come back from these crazy deficits. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, in the NBA, like, the talent is going to win out.
So do you believe in the Warriors have had 7 losses at home by more than 20 points this year, and no team that has done that has won? Do you think that will overcome that and be the first team?
Yeah, no team. Yeah. I still think so. I mean, they have much more competition this year. Like, it's funny to say that when LeBron leaves the East, somehow the East is better than it's ever been. And then I kind of want to retract something that I was saying earlier on a couple of other podcasts where I was like, well, the Lakers had the same record when they had LeBron and they didn't. I was like, well, he got hurt, this and that. And then I realized he played 55 games. If you get 55 games where LeBron is playing, you should have a better record. I know he was hurt for a certain number of games. And not to talk, and somehow we're still talking about LeBron even though he's not even in the playoffs. You knew that was going to happen. But yeah, I kind of want to say, like, this season is definitely like a black mark on his record. Like, I don't know. I'm a big LeBron supporter.
He took a crappier team in Cleveland to the championship.
That's
not
why
even to the playoffs and all.
That's why I thought he would be fine. Like, look at those teams that he dragged to the championship against the Warriors, and now the team arguably is better. I mean, they don't have Kyrie or Kevin Love, but like overall, like, the team is better. Chase said, "Why are the Warriors always angry?" I'm like, in my opinion, it's just like kind of
bored.
It's kind of manufactured, yeah. And then you have to kind of find somebody to, like, fight against. It's like, how much can we care about this regular season? So we'll just make it the refs. We'll make it Patrick Beverly. I'm definitely.
I missed what happened with that. With Patrick Beverly and the Warriors in Game 1.
He got tangled up with Kevin Durant, or there was like a play where Beverly was getting the ball and Durant kind of like pushed him out of bounds, but it looked like Beverly fell, and then they kind of like tangled up, and both of those guys have like not the coolest of heads,
not the coolest demeanors.
So last night, Draymond, I mean, it's such a weird contrast of like being such a tough guy in Draymond, but being willing to flop like that. Because if you were watching some of the game, there was a play where he flopped, and it was just like pathetic. It's like, I get you're trying to draw the call, but you have a reputation as a tough guy too, but somehow you spin around like a ballerina and fall down. And then that's the play that fouled Patrick Beverly out. So as Patrick Beverly's leaving the court, Draymond, you can see his mouth on the TV. He's like, bye-bye, bye-bye, and like doing that whole Draymond thing. And these two guys are not going to get along no matter what.
Yeah.
They're both like emotional guys, and it's the playoffs. So I'm all the way here for Patrick Beverly against the Warriors. And that whole team.
Against anybody.
Yeah, I like the whole Clippers team. I like them. When I saw they were playing in the 8th seed and they were playing the Warriors, I'm like, that's a shame, because it's a good young team. Like he said last night,
I love Doc Rivers.
They're starting 2 rookies and 1 third-year guy, and then they just beat the Warriors at home.
And the reason I asked that Patrick Beverly thing was on my way home last night when I was listening. Every time he touched the ball, the whole arena started booing.
Yeah.
And I was confused. So
you know how fans are. It's kind of like overblown. It's not like
I would be the same way if I was in there.
It's not. Yeah, of course. It's not like. And then if you watched any of the difference in basketball fights and NHL fights, Ovechkin, who I wouldn't like necessarily think of as like the toughest guy in the NHL. I don't know if you saw this.
Oh, when he knocked that dude out?
Literally, they start fighting. It's probably happened. I'm sure
He
it's
had a
happened.
good, clean hit.
Yeah, he must have hit him like right in the temple because this guy went
No,
out.
he hit right in the
Yeah.
jaw because ESPN played it on ESPN.com, and they slowed it down, and it was a perfect.
It's one of those headlines, like when you see it on your phone, like sometimes ESPN can overblow it. It's like, must-see dunk of the year. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that was a pretty good dunk. But it was like, Ovechkin knocks guy out. I'm like, okay, I got to watch that.
Yeah.
It was literally knocked him out.
I was going to show my wife when I saw it, and I was like, nah, she wouldn't get it. But, you know, sports fan, I love hockey because they can fight. Yeah, you get your penalty. I'll take that penalty to knock somebody out.
You think that in basketball they should have like a 2-minute like penalty, but instead of actually sitting in the penalty box for 2 minutes, they just strap on some gloves and you just fight.
You just go.
You just fight
Absolutely.
and then you come back in the game, and whoever lost the fight can't come back in the game.
Yeah, whoever loses, that would be great. You like sock 'em, bock 'em when you're a kid. Whoever loses,
It'd be like nobody wants
done.
to fight. You just have James Johnson. Is it James Johnson for the Heat, who's like an MMA guy? I think it's James Johnson. And you just have him fight all the other team's best players, and eventually you just win by default.
Yeah,
he win the championship.
everybody.
All of a sudden you have like Conor
Every 2
McGregor
minutes,
in
he
the
just
NBA.
hit somebody. What do we got next?
That was Clippers Warriors. I mean, Philly Brooklyn. For some weird reason, this series is not that interesting to me. Even though Brooklyn won the first game, and then predictably, Philadelphia.
spanked them.
That's kind of what I'm expecting here tonight to get back to Orlando. Is like,
We're not gonna get spanked tonight.
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I don't think we're gonna win,
Yeah,
but we're not gonna get spanked.
What
Would
were-
you say the spread was 10?
10.5.
We're definitely gonna be closer.
What'd you guys win by last time? 3, and then that was with Kyle Lowry scoring 0 points. I mean,
That's that defense, baby.
as bad as he's been in the playoffs, you can't expect Lowry to score 0 points again. Or you can. I mean,
So, this is what I was telling you when we first got here, that I took a screenshot
he had some stats pulled up.
of some stats. So, this is before January 31st and after January 31st. Opponent's field goal. We were 18th, now we're first. So let me just count the first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Six categories that Magic are number one in defense since January 31st. And that's opponent field goals, opponent three-point percentage, opponent points off turnovers, which is in the playoff game, that's huge.
Yeah.
Points off turnovers, if you're going to turn it over, you can't give up points. That's what the Warriors live on.
Do you think they're because when they were at their best, nobody thought about them as a defensive team because of all the points they gave up, but you have to adjust it for pace and all that, and they actually were one of the better defensive teams. That's every time I talk to anybody. One of my good buddies is like, he says he's a basketball fan, but he barely watches. But he's like, oh, the Warriors, how are they so good? They give up all these points. I'm like, well, if you adjust it per 100 and all stats and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I guess if you are drafting all these guys who are long and athletic, the defense should be the first thing that comes.
And well, we didn't have that until Steve Clifford just got here. Frank Vogel was kind of a defensive guy, which when we got rid of him, I was kind of pissed. Like, he only had 1 year with us.
So
he did great with the Pacers.
You guys both said that you kind of like turned off the game or weren't paying attention to it. Did anyone see Steve Ballmer in the crowd, or have you seen any ESPN shots of him?
No, I haven't seen
Oh my God. It's like the definition of an old white guy. He was literally like when they made the three, he stood up. He's like, oh! He looks like he's like running in his seat. I'm like, oh God. But I digress. I mean, the Denver-San Antonio series, nobody believed in Denver all year, and San Antonio.
I have.
Oh,
I think Denver's a decent team. I mean, I don't think they got a chance to win it.
Well, obviously, if you're the 2 seed in the West, you have a decent team. But it's that whole thing. Like, if we haven't seen you do it before, are you capable of doing it?
And we know what Poppins is about.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's kind of like in the NBA, you're rooting for players.
And DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, and yeah. I said as soon as I saw Kyle Lowry score 0, I switched over to the box score. I was like, "What is DeRozan doing? Are they somehow linked?" I don't know. He was doing decent. He had more than 0 points.
Well, I would think so.
The Denver-San Antonio series, I kind of think San Antonio is going to win.
I would bet on it.
One series that I think is like one of the more interesting ones. I love watching OKC. Russell Westbrook is my favorite player.
Yeah, I like watching
He's my
him.
favorite player in the NBA. I know he's had not a great season shooting and all that kind of stuff.
He's still averaged a triple-double.
Yeah.
3 years in a row.
The thing about that
crazy.
is, as good as that is and as crazy as that is, it almost kind of hurts his case for the MVP the year that he won it. Because that year it's like, oh, he won. He got a triple-double every game. We have to give him the MVP. But then after the last 2 years, it's like, oh, okay, so that's kind of like a normal
What makes
thing.
it special to me this year is he has Paul George with him. And he still did it.
And we talked about this on one of the older podcasts where Paul George is getting MVP consideration, and as a point guard, it's your job to elevate players around you.
Yeah.
So that was one of like LeBron's best traits, and people don't give, I think, Russell Westbrook enough credit for elevating other players around him because he has that like look at me attitude as far as like getting his stats and getting his rebounds and all that kind of stuff. Because there are times when he's definitely, you could tell he's going for a triple-double.
Yeah. Like what was the other day when he did the 20-20-20?
Yeah,
they were blowing him out, and he's just still in there.
Yeah, but one of the more fun players to watch. And then you compare that with like one of the most underrated players in the league, Damian Lillard.
Yeah,
if they wouldn't have lost Nurkic, I definitely think they would have won the series. But without that,
well, it's still going on. So what do you mean would have won?
I'm saying I still think OKC is going to win the series, but I would give the Trailblazers a much bigger edge if they had Nurkic. To me, it's just like Paul George could have been in the top 3 or 4 for MVP this year, and you have Westbrook who has won an MVP.
Yeah. Just triple-double machine, man. It's crazy.
Brian said, Thunder don't look good, though. Who are they beating to get out of the West? They looked awful versus Portland. Well, they looked awful, but they only lost by 5.
Yeah.
Chase
It's
said,
only game 1.
Chase said the Heat have a 1% chance at Zion. Keep hoping, I guess. It's better than 0.
Cross them fingers. Fuck the Heat.
Oh, my God. That would be insane, though. That would,
You know, I want to ask you about this. The Tampa Bay Lightning, I'm not a huge hockey fan.
okay.
But they had the second best record in NHL history.
I think it was tied for first with the Red Wings in 95.
Was it tied?
It was tied for first,
I knew it
believe.
was close. And now they're about to get swept. Do you think they have a chance?
To come back?
Yeah.
Man.
They're playing the 8th seed.
Okay, so
And Kucherov is back.
So I bring everything back to betting, and so the first game, I'm like, okay, I'm going to bet on the Magic. I'm going to bet on the Lightning. They were like minus 200, so you bet 50 to win 25 if you're doing those kind of that.
50 to win 25.
Right. So I was like, okay, that's fine, I'll do it. But I was at work, luckily, and I got busy, so I didn't get to put it in. So they lose, they lose, and I was like, oh, thank God. 2 days later, I'm like, okay, they're definitely not losing the second game. Like after they lost the first game, it was 3-1. It would have been $75 you had to bet to win 25. I'm like, it's a little steep, but I got busy again, didn't get to put it in. Thank God. The
ACPK.
The third game, I wasn't paying attention, and then tonight I said, all right, there's no way they're getting swept. I have to put a good amount of money on.
They play tomorrow, don't they?
No, they play tonight.
Do they?
Yeah, they're minus 130, but they're in Columbus. So minus 130 basically means you bet 1.3 amount of the amount. So it's like 30 something to win 25 or whatever.
Still favored, and they're down 3-0.
They're still favored, but I mean in hockey, in any sport, when you're down 3-0, like you're not going to get swept. Like that's pretty much what they're saying. So I was like, how much money should I put on this tonight? I'm like, you know what? If I bet on them, they're going to get swept, and if I don't, they're going to win 6-0. So let me just.
So what'd you do?
So let me just not do it.
You just didn't do it.
I might.
There you go, Margio. He's got your back.
I might still do it. What? Margio is a Lightning fan?
Oh, he's a huge Lightning fan.
I hate the Lightning anyway. So
I'm sorry, Margio. Though Juventus lost today, and they're out.
I think it's
They lost the second leg.
The second leg in the aggregate.
Yeah, whatever. It's an Ajax.
I think it's Ajax.
Whatever.
That's
AX.
that concludes our soccer talk.
Yep.
I'll be at the Orlando City soccer game this weekend. There's 5 more seconds of soccer talk for you. You know, I actually do. I like going to Orlando City games, and
They're fun. They're super fun.
Consider myself a football fan now, a bit of a hooligan, you know.
Football. Not football. Football.
Football.
Football. Ruckus section. You guys sit there. Don't bring kids. My kids couldn't handle it. It's too loud.
Yeah, I don't know if she'll be down for that. I definitely am. But
all right, well, bring the boys to the ruckus section.
Yeah, we definitely should go one time. It's
Hell
it's
yeah.
a lot of fun. Not that we're like plugging Orlando City games, but it is a lot of fun. Just do not buy, and this is never going to be a sponsor, but do never buy a drink in there. $9.50 for like a 12-ounce aluminum can. Sneak your stuff in, people.
little bottles, traveling drunk tips.
Yeah, Chase
bring the little bottles that are plastic.
Upsets are common in hockey. Yeah, it's a lot more likely to happen in hockey for one to be upset by an 8. But you're talking about not just a regular 1 seed. You're talking about a team that
Second
has
best team
you're talking about
time.
with one of the best records of all time. I mean, not even just to get upset, to get swept. You're losing 4 games in a row. I haven't looked it up because I don't do that kind of research. But what if you looked up when's the last time this entire season the Lightning lost 4 games in a row, or even 3 games in a row? I bet you it hasn't happened more than once or twice, if that.
I don't think they've lost 4 games ever this season.
Well, they
Maybe
lost
once 3.
They lost 13 or 14 games, so it could only happen once or twice.
Yeah. I know they went on a bunch of 10-game win streaks.
It would be similar to if the Warriors now lost the next 2 games to the Clippers, even though those games are at home. I mean, basketball obviously is different. You only have the 5 guys, but.
Just a random thing to throw in. My sleeper star tonight for the Magic, Michael Carter-Williams. Used to be a Rookie of the Year.
That guy's been on 7 million teams.
Hey, he was Rookie of the Year.
That guy's like Tobias Harris. Like if he's good, then why does he keep on getting traded?
Hey, he was good that 1 year, and now he's been good for us.
Is it prom
Since the end
time or
of the
something? What's
season.
going on out there?
Prom tonight.
I don't know.
It might be. Someone's saying the school year.
I mean, I guess if we want to mention other series, Houston, Utah. Utah to
I haven't
me.
watched any of that.
Utah to me, I know they have. I always mix these 2 guys up. I mix up Jokic and the guy that Utah has. Donovan Mitchell. I don't know how I know how I mix up Jokic and Nurkic. And
Won the slam dunk contest when Aaron should have won. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, nobody really cares about that.
I love everything Magic, baby.
Yeah, I know. Houston's gonna win that series. Who
I think so.
Who do you have for MVP for like the awards we don't care about?
For MVP, the freak.
Giannis, yeah.
He has to, man. He's got a bunch of decent players with him, but he's the only stud on that team.
No, he has good players around him. Malcolm Brogdon and Mirotic are both really good.
Decent.
Chris Middleton's an all-star. Yeah. And
but he's an all-star because of the freak.
Right. I mean, was he ever in an all-star game before this year without
Chris
Giannis?
Middleton?
He's been good his whole career though. He's always been one of those underrated
I think
guys.
Middleton might have been in one in New Jersey.
Yeah, he's always been one of those underrated guys though. I don't know if he has been in.
I think he was playing with Kardashian's ex-fucking guy.
I guess we're doing more soccer talk. Brian and Chase are talking about the South Florida. That's going to be the rival of the
Miami.
Yeah, of the Orlando City soccer team. They said they're going to spend the most in the MLS. I mean,
well, we have to be good to have a rival first. We're good in the
They're not that
ULS.
bad. I feel like they're not that bad. They're like a middle of the pack team. You only have to be in top 8 to make the playoffs, and there's only like 15 teams in each conference.
Yeah, and we ain't made it yet.
It was so funny.
4 years, 5 years we've been in.
We were at the game 2 weeks ago, and the Orlando City keeper. He conceded a goal, and some guy yelled, "That's why you're not in Bundesliga." And I just started cracking up laughing, and Tiffany's like, "What does that even mean?" I had to proceed to explain to her like Bundesliga is like the main German league, and it's just so funny that this random guy in like a rainy Orlando City game is like.
Is the rainy one?
Yeah, he's yelling a taunt at the Orlando City goalie who cannot even hear him. He's like, "That's why you're not in Bundesliga." What kind of a taunt is that?
That's funny you say that. They couldn't even hear him. So when I'm watching the Masters on Saturday with my son, and Tiger hit a beautiful shot. I can't remember what it was. It was, yeah, Tiger! Screaming. Y'all, if you know me, you know how loud I get when I cheer. So I'm screaming in my house as loud as my son's like, "Dad, he can't hear you." He's like, "What?" He's like, "He can't hear you." "Nope, but he can feel my vibrations, baby."
Oh man, that kid is he's gonna be something else.
My kids are loud, boy. Hey, Stretch, give me a Bud Light. Sorry, our producer walked away.
The babysitter's gone. Time to talk politics.
All right, politics.
No, we're not talking. We're not talking politics.
We're not talking Game of Thrones. We ain't talking nothing but sports on this one.
Yeah, slow first episode, but it'll get better. I mean, they just had to. Everyone had to get where they're going. Anyways, that's pretty much it. I think for NBA. I guess the only series we didn't mention was Boston, Indiana.
You know, they were fighting the last week for who's going to be 4, who's going to be 5.
And if you think about it, the only reason it matters is if it goes to a Game 7.
Yeah.
And do you think it's going to go to a Game 7? The thing to me about the Pacers season is how impressive it is that they're doing this without their Oladipo. Yeah.
Stupid Magic.
And how many teams can you say that?
He wasn't like
for?
he was.
No,
I think he learned from Westbrook, and he took that.
He wouldn't have had the ability to grow. It's the same thing as, do you think James Harden? I know Stretch does. He's not even here, so I'm talking to nobody. But I said, Stretch, do you think Harden would have become what he is now if he would have still been with Durant and Westbrook? He wouldn't have had the minutes or the opportunities.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But
and Oladipo wouldn't have learned what he learned from Westbrook that one season.
But he had his own team with the Magic, but then.
But he wasn't the same.
Yeah.
He didn't have nobody to learn from.
He has good players around him too. Sabonis is really good. It's always these teams who don't get the higher profile player in the trade. It's like I was looking at a thing of
like we did with fucking this guy plays for Toronto, Ibaka.
Ibaka, yeah.
That we give $120 million to.
But yeah, then you see these teams who don't get the higher profile. They don't get the higher profile guy, and then they wind up doing better in the trade. You see this. Still, what's going on right now with Denver is like a reverberation from what happened with the Carmelo trade. Some of those main guys are still like Gallinari was a part of that trade.
Yeah.
Damn,
wow, I forgot.
Yeah, he was still part of that trade. And he's the starting point guard right now.
So speaking of Carmelo, would you want him on your team? Is he still out there for next year?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't want him either.
I don't think that what the Pistons need to improve their team is a 30-something-year-old ball dominant guy who can't really shoot anymore.
And actually, I've been wanting to ask you this, and I still haven't. What do you think about Stan Van Gundy getting fired? Because I wish he never got fired.
Yeah,
I loved him with the Magic. As
much as I like Dwayne Casey, like I'm glad that they got a replacement like Dwayne Casey.
I was hoping we got him.
I always liked Stan Van Gundy.
He's a great coach.
Yeah, it's just the thing is in the NBA, whether you're doing at a certain point, if you're not getting the results, then you have to go. It's just for like the sake of keeping things fresh.
Well, between our bets, he's always got you the goddamn results.
But
I understand.
Whether you agree with it or not, I mean, the best thing to me that he did is get Blake Griffin. Like, whether you think it's a good trade or a bad trade or a good contract or a bad contract, guys like Blake Griffin are never going to come to Detroit willingly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of messed up from the Clippers that they said if you sign with us, we're not going to trade you, and then he signs and they trade him.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I'm on the players' side when Anthony Davis wants to hold out. It's like, oh, but he signed a contract. It's like, well, the Clippers told Blake Griffin that they wouldn't trade him, and as soon as he signed, they traded him. So it's good for Detroit, but.
When it comes to stuff like that, like Antonio Brown's, and back to this dumbass again, he had 3 years left on his contract. When you signed it, you knew how much guarantee money was going to be there and how long it was going to be for you to get that guarantee money.
Well, so
don't be a little bitch.
You're a baseball guy, right?
Yes, and I do want to talk some baseball.
So just like what you're saying about the contracts and how he had years left on his contract, and so what do you think about guys in baseball who are overperforming their contract? And the guy I'm talking about is Christian Yelich. Hit 3 home runs the other day. I think
7 RBIs.
I think he's making like $14 million next year, and that'll be the most he's made. And he's in the running. He won MVP last year, and then he could be winning a batting title again this year. What do you think about guys like trying to get what they're worth while they still can, while they're still young enough to get what they can get?
Well, like when it comes to Christian Yelich, all right, that's the contract he signed, and that. The one he signed with the Marlins that he got traded with was his rookie deal, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
So now that's your rookie deal. You can restructure it, but you don't hold out. You don't threaten to leave because that's not going to help. Look what Le'Veon Bell did. He held out, and he didn't make nearly as much as he would have staying under the tenure tag.
Well, to me...
And I agree, if you're worth this much, you need to get paid that much. But you could do that on a different way than holding out and fucking your teammates.
To me, if if a team, like everyone, most fans are gonna say, or they're gonna agree with whatever side helps their team. Like if your player on your team is holding out, you're like, oh, he shouldn't hold out. You only care if it's your team for the most part.
Well, I hate the Marlins and I hate the Brewers. So.
But so if a team, and people say honor the contract, that's an argument that I hear a lot. Okay, so a team doesn't have to honor the contract. They can cut you or waive you or trade you whenever they want.
But they still got to pay you what they owe you.
Not if they cut you or trade you. A lot of the times, the money's not guaranteed. So if you're underperforming and they can cut you, if you're overperforming your contract, you should be allowed to go to a different team, or you should be able to force your way out.
Negotiate it, yeah, force your way. But with 3 years left on it, and the only reason he left was because he didn't have any more guaranteed money. But before you sign that contract, you know that.
As far as contracts, we're going to talk about the big one in the NFL, the Russell Wilson contract.
Yeah.
I think it was $140 million. I had it written down.
$140 million for 4 years.
4 years, yeah.
$35 million a year.
I'll look it up right now. Anyone know off the top of their head how old he is right now?
28, 29.
So he's setting
like that.
So he's setting himself up.
I think he's 29.
And hats off to the agent. The way these quarterbacks are now, he's going to be the highest paid player in football. 30. So
that was close.
So he's setting himself up right now to be the highest paid player in football, obviously until the next contract comes out, because the way inflation and these deals work.
So that's Prescott, baby.
Well, I wouldn't be bragging about that. You're going to be having to pay.
No, I do not want to pay Dak
You
Prescott.
have to be paid. You just bragged about it.
No, I was just stating the fact. I just looked excited.
Yeah, but yeah, giving up all our money, baby.
Did you see how he showed everybody? He was laying in bed with Russell Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
He was laying in bed with Sierra, right? That's his girl, Sierra. And looking all tired, like he just hooked up with her, I want to be nice. And he announced it. He's like, all right, I'll see y'all in the morning. He cut it off.
Well, it's not like he didn't.
What are you
it's
doing?
not like he didn't know when the deal was going to come. It's a pretty
2:45 in the morning.
It's a pretty cool move if you think about it on his part. He set a deadline and they met his deadline and So
he did what he was supposed to do. I got nothing but thumbs up for Russell Wilson.
He said, "This is what I'm worth. You're going to pay me this," and
if not, I'm not going to sign the contract.
Yeah.
But he didn't say I wasn't going to play.
No, right.
He was going to play this.
But the only thing he was threatening is that if you don't pay me now, I'm going to hit the free. I'm going to hit the free market, and I'm going to get God knows what kind of contract.
That's what I'm talking about with contracts.
What the hell do you think the Dolphins would pay for somebody like that if they're paying, or the Jaguars if they're paying that for like?
Well, the Dolphins would give Dan Marino's number to him, and Dan Marino.
Unretire it.
Yeah. Here, you can have all this.
They'd kick him out of Miami.
Oh, you want the Hard Rock? You can have that too. Bring them on down here.
But so he set himself up well too. So if he's 30 years old, the way these quarterbacks are now, he's 30 now. He'll be 34 at the end. He's got all that guaranteed money, and then by the end of the contract, if he's still performing at that level, God forbid if they don't get a better offensive line, he might be out of the league by then. But
they stepped it up last season.
But he could still get another gigantic contract like that again.
Absolutely. He did it right.
So I think it's smart to sign that 4-year deal. If you're Russell Wilson and you think you can play up to it, now if you're Matt Ryan, which I was having the contract.
The only thing that scares me with Russell Wilson is how much he runs but he don't get hit as much. He runs out of bounds.
He's been fine so far. He's been fine so far.
Smart with it.
He has that one move, and I love watching him more than a lot of people. He has that one move where you got guys come in. He invented it. I feel like he backs up and then he rolls out this way. I'm like, if I know it's coming, how do they not know it's coming?
And he's seen that peripheral though, so he's backing up. He knows where to fuck.
He always backs up and then he rolls back out this way, and then finds like Lockett or one of the or Baldwin. Like
I feel like with him that his like normal people peripherals are like this. Russell Wilson's is like this. Yeah. He's like a fucking owl.
Him and Aaron Rodgers, as far as extending plays, is just like ridiculous.
So what do we got? We got about 7 more minutes.
Oh yeah, you're waiting for the game, right? What time is it?
Oh no, I'm talking about the podcast. So I'm gonna talk a little baseball, baby.
Yeah. We go pretty much for whatever time we want.
How are the Tigers doing?
I don't want.
And that's an honest question.
No.
I'm not sure how they're doing.
It's actually not an offensive question. I think last time I checked, we're 8-7.
You thought y'all were horrible this year. Last time I talked to you.
Yeah, honestly, I did. I mean, I had no hope. To me, our best pitcher, Farmer, was going for Tommy John surgery. I think it was. So I didn't have much hope even when he was going to be starting. Zimmerman almost pitched a perfect game on opening day.
I saw that.
He had a perfect game through 6 or 7 innings. We beat the Yankees in his series. We kind of came back down to earth, like where we're going to be. Baseball is like that. The season's long enough to where, like, who was it? Herm Edwards who said, or somebody who said, your record is, you are what your record says you are.
You are what your record says you are.
Yeah, whoever
Yeah,
that.
I think that was Herm.
Yeah. So I don't really believe that in football. I do believe that in baseball. It's like over 162 games, whatever your record
if
is.
you made the playoffs, it's over that.
Yeah, whatever your record is, that's probably what you are. In football, you could be 8-8. You could really be 10-6. You could really be 6-10. I don't know.
The Braves are doing good. I'm a Braves fan, in case y'all didn't know.
Are they? Yeah. I mean, I know last year they were like the breakout team.
Yeah,
we have Acuna.
I think we just signed Acuna, and we just signed Ozzy Albies. Or Ozzy Albies.
Albies, right?
Yeah, Albies. My tongue's not working. Still getting my voice back from my cruise. Sorry, y'all. But and we don't even have our best pitcher back yet. He's still on injured reserve. Mike Fulton-Nevich.
Yeah, how do you say that name? I always look at it.
Fulton-Nevich.
Every time I'm betting, I'm looking for someone to bet on baseball. I'm like, what is Fulton-Nevich?
Mike Fulton-Nevich.
That's how you say it?
Yep.
Are you sure?
Fulton-Nevich. Yep.
I'm not sure.
I've watched Brave games all the time, and actually, I should be putting it on my phone right now, but I'm having too good of a time here. On Analytically Correct, baby.
We'll watch the Magic game. It says it starts at 8, but it really starts at like 8:15.
Yeah.
Anything else that you wanted to talk about? The Russell Wilson. Oh yeah. So the Russell Wilson contract, as far as it relates to Dak Prescott, you kind of you kind of alluded to it when you said, "Yeah, baby," but I think your emotions are kind of the other way. Like, I don't want to have to pay.
No,
this.
I think Prescott is gonna have to get paid. I don't see us being crappy enough to get a good high draft pick to get a great quarterback, and he's a middle of the road quarterback, which I think he is. Which I think he's going to be better this year because we got Jason Witten back, which I think he's more. I think he's more. Stop laughing. Listen, I think he's more there to coach.
Here in spirit. Yeah.
I think he's more there to coach.
But at that time, just bring him in as a coach. Why are you paying him so much?
We're not paying him that much, though.
It's like $3 million. No tight end coach makes that much money.
$3 million, exactly.
No tip makes that much money.
But we also got Randall Cobb.
Another old guy.
Well, he's a good slugger. We lost Beasley.
Wait, where did Beasley go?
To the Bills.
Oh, no.
Fuck you, Ryan.
I kind of like watching Beasley. I'm never going to watch him again now.
Beasley. Yeah, me either.
That's where careers go to die.
We got Amari on the outside and Michael Gallup, which is a burner. So we got two. Amari Cooper's pretty much a burner, but not quite.
I like that you have a lot of hope. Like, for me, I'm just kind of in the zone where I'm just like, I love football season, but I have
there's going to be one guy, and with Zeke there's one guy you got to double team. Who's it going to be? Because we got the other ones.
Who do you have to double team?
One of the 5.
What, receivers?
You're either going to double team Amari.
You don't have to double team Amari Cooper.
You don't think so?
No.
After what he did when he came to the Cowboys?
I don't think you have to double team Amari Cooper. He
was balling when he came to the Cowboys.
He doesn't command. Yeah,
he was one of the top receivers in the league after the trade.
I don't think he commands that kind of respect. To me, he's not good enough of a route runner. To me, he's more like take the top off a defense kind of guy.
There you go. You're still going to have that safety sitting back there watching.
Yeah.
And let Zeke break through the hole. There's no safety there.
We'll see.
And then Michael Gallup, that's a burner.
I didn't want to break down the whole Cowboys team. What I wanted to mainly ask you.
Well, you asked me the Cowboys, baby. I'm going to talk about it.
When's the Magic game starting? No, what I wanted to ask you is, what kind of a number do you think would be right for Dak? Like, what kind of a number would you see?
I think we're going to be 10-6.
Well, no. Not the record. What kind of a contract number, like millions per year for Dak? If you saw it, you'd be like, okay, that's good. Or if you saw it, you'd be like, that's fucking crazy.
I'm looking right around 110, 115 for 5 years.
So like
It's like 22, 27 a million.
Okay. So like 20 something a year, because he's gonna get more than that.
Let's see. I'll do it real quick. Calculator.
Just to give
we'll do 115.
Yeah, just to give you a perspective, Nick Foles right now gets 22 a year. Yeah, Dak's gonna get more than that.
Nick Foles is a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, but is he really?
Dak's
that's
not.
like in the same way that Iguodala is a finals MVP.
So $23 million a year for Dak.
So he's in the Joe Flacco, Alex Smith.
Joe Flacco's the Super Bowl winner.
Yeah, but still, like, come on.
He's garbage now, but he's Super Bowl winner.
Okay, Eli won 2 Super Bowls, but I mean, come on.
Our number one priority is going to be Zeke.
He's still,
Zeke in our line.
He's still on the rookie contract?
Yeah, both of them came
You
the
think
same
so?
year.
They let DeMarco go.
DeMarco wasn't Zeke.
I mean, he was pretty damn good when he was there.
He was, and I was pissed we let him go. Don't get me wrong, but he's not.
Yeah,
Zeke.
they took Zeke in the first round, right?
And DeMarco, and yeah, we took him 4th overall.
I think it was 4th or 5th.
And then we got Prescott in the 6th round.
What else can we throw in real quick? Just while I have JJ here, just some JJ-centric questions. Where did the Cowboys draft?
We don't have a 1st round.
Oh, never mind. Forget about that question.
We traded it for Mark Cooper.
If you had a 1st-round pick, if you had a top 10 pick, who are some of the guys you like in the NFL draft if they did theoretically draft the top 10?
I would love to get Joey Bosa.
Okay. Well, he's already in the league, so.
Oh, well, what the fuck's his brother's name then? What's his brother name?
Nick Bosa.
Nick Bosa.
Yeah, he's going to go 2.
You know, I stopped paying attention to it once we got rid of our 1st-round pick.
Yeah, fair enough. I did the same thing. Well, not the same exact thing, but we didn't. Do you watch college basketball? I'm trying to fit a bunch of things.
I do, but not as much. I think what's his name? The Murray State Is it John or Jay?
Ja Morant.
Is it John or Ja?
It's Ja.
Ja, right?
Yeah.
Ja Morant. I think he's going to be a better overall player than Zion.
Hey-yo.
I think if the Suns get the number 1 pick, they need to get him.
There's no possible way that Zion's not going number 1.
You think Ayton and Zion should be good together?
No, he's not. He's going to go to the Knicks. Stretch already said he's going to the Knicks.
Oh, yeah. Well, all 3 of the bottom teams have the same chance of getting that number 1
pick.
pick.
The envelope has been in the freezer since the Knicks, since they got put in the season. True story.
What was it? Kyrie, Kevin Durant, Zion? Is that what I see?
Yeah. The envelope is not only frozen, it's going to be dry ice. He's literally going to burn his fingers. It's just going to be 17 different ping pong balls with Knicks logos on it.
If them 3 players get put on the Knicks, I'll wear anything Stretch wants me to for the whole season.
Road to Zion, baby.
You can hear it.
We're on the road to Zion.
I'm not going to say if you get Zion, I'll
On
do
the
that.
road to Zion.
Y'all got just, if y'all get the 1st pick, you better get Zion.
No, they will.
But if the Suns get the first pick, they don't need to get Zion. They need Ja.
Well, they would trade the 1st pick then if they're...
Until the 2nd, yeah. See,
Yeah.
I was thinking about that earlier, but I'm a couple in now.
Yeah, you're in my seat, so that's usually the booze seat. I think we're pretty much good. Magic game starting soon. If you guys want to come and see JJ in full force, are we going to stay here and watch it? Or
I'm at least not leaving till halftime.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because I got to be able to get the get.
All right, yeah.
So I'm going to do my sign-off now.
Yeah, do your sign. Oh, let me do the last words are going to be from JJ. Let me just do a semi-professional sign-off. I'm in Brett's seat after all. Brett, we missed you this week. I really am rooting for the Magic tonight. Not really, I don't really care, but this has been Analytically Correct. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I would say commenting, but it seems like Brett is the one that gets all the comments popping off.
Hey, Marty, thanks for having me.
Thank you, and...
Fuck you, Toronto.
No.
Stay classy, Orlando.
Oh, you messed it up. It's go fuck yourself, Toronto.
Go fuck yourself, Toronto. Stay classy, Orlando.
All right, on that note, thank you, guys.
Bye, Brett.